The delicious smell of food wafted from the stove. A soft sizzling sound filled the quiet room. The girl happily cooking was Juni. As she worked, she cheerfully hummed a nameless tune. Once finished, June-hee carefully tasted a bit to check the seasoning. 8:30 a.m. Glancing at the clock, she felt a little rushed. As usual, she went into the room to wake up her family member. Hurrying over to the bed, she looked at the young man who was still fast asleep. She shook him gently but firmly and whispered, "Wake up." He was still dead to the world. She didn't give up and kept calling out, "You're going to be late." Pausing for a moment, Jun-hee spoke again. "Dad." Hearing that word, the young man suddenly jolted awake. His eyes snapped open. Do-jun seemed completely bewildered. He immediately sat up, his face still full of shock, unable to stop the cold sweat breaking out on his forehead. He looked at Jun-hee and let out a bitter smile. "All right." The girl's eyes were gentle. Jun-hee let out a sigh of relief and gave a soft smile. Looking at Do-jun, she then said, "Let's go eat breakfast." The story goes back to 2 months ago. Through a fatherhood contract, Do-jun gained a daughter. It was truly unbelievable. 10 years ago, rifts began to appear on Earth. At the time, everyone was completely shocked. What is that? Looking at that massive rift, some people were so terrified they couldn't even move. And from then on, countless monsters poured out of those rifts. Human strength was completely powerless against them. Fortunately, certain individuals awakened and gained special abilities. Wielding supernatural powers, they defeated the monsters and became known as hunters. And every hunter had a status window that allowed them to see their stats and skills, just like in a video game. This was something the hunters were quite pleased with. Not bad. Soon after, they cheerfully said to each other, "Let's go for another round. Let's do it." And our main character is Lee Do-jun, an ordinary guy who was in a 3-year study program after completing his military service. Now, he had joined the Rift Management Department and become a new employee in one of their teams. His daily work was quite busy. What the hell is this report? Hey, Lee Do-jun. Usually, he would just obediently reply. Do-jun was a forgetful and disorganized employee, which constantly frustrated his boss. Are you even taking your work seriously? At those times, Do-jun could only bow his head. I'm sorry. Even so, he was officially accepted into the team after over a year, and Do-jun was very excited about his first real assignment. That night, right after getting off work, he went to Gangdong District to check if any rifts had appeared. But on the way, a speeding truck slammed right into Do-jun. He couldn't dodge in time. The blaring horn echoed through the neighborhood that night as Do-jun collapsed, unconscious. That night, he was genuinely hit by a truck. When he opened his eyes, the light glaring into his face blinded him for a moment. Waking up once again, Do-jun found himself in the Murim world. This place wasn't as simple as Do-jun's world. Endless slaughter took place all around him. Do-jun was killed countless times in that world. The strange thing was that Do-jun kept getting back up, time and time again. This was because of the skill he awakened in this Murim world. It was a skill that allowed him to return to the day before every time he died, called Pocket Watch. Whenever his life hung by a thread, Do-jun could do nothing but scream in helplessness. Fortunately, in those moments, that power would always bring him back, again and again. And by the time his memories began to fade, even his own name, Lee Do-jun, had become the strongest. He sat high above, with the corpses of those who tried to kill him piled beneath his feet. From then on, everyone in the Murim world called him the Heavenly Demon. However, even after becoming the absolute strongest, Do-jun often asked himself, what did he have left now? And then, just as suddenly as he was transported to the Murim world, Do-jun was brought back to reality. Before he left the hospital, the nurses and doctors were extremely worried. Please come back if your injuries start hurting again. Are you sure you're okay? The nurse watched his back with a hint of fear. Is he really the guy who went through a 17-hour surgery just yesterday? I heard he was in a truck accident. The doctor was just as baffled. I have no idea either. Looking up at the sky, he muttered to himself. Life here feels so blurry. It's going to take some time to get used to this again. Summoning his status window, Do-jun calculated in his head. I've become so strong that food and money are no longer an issue. But he looked at himself with a hint of sorrow. These hands have been stained with the blood of so many people in that other world. Recalling the past, he told himself, Going through so many betrayals has made it impossible for me to trust anyone anymore. This is the consequence of dying and coming back to life over and over. He paused. Dujun's heart suddenly felt at peace. Normal. He looked up and gazed at his surroundings. Right now, I really just want to live a normal life. Without any burdens. The scene shifted to City Hall. Dujun immediately went back to work. Good morning. As soon as everyone in the office saw him walk in, they all fell dead silent. Cheol-soo was startled the moment he saw him. Are you okay? Dujun replied casually. Yes, sir. As you can see, I'm perfectly fine. His co-workers began whispering. Unbelievable. He doesn't look hurt at all. Cheol-soo quickly noticed something else. It seems you're not stuttering anymore. Dujun scratched his cheek. Oh, did I used to do that? Everyone scanned him from head to toe, evaluating him. Mr. Lee, your body looks a lot more muscular and solid now. What happened? You're right. He used to look like a dry twig. Cheol-soo stepped closer, looking puzzled. And it seems you've gotten taller, too. Dujun, on the other hand, acted like it was nothing. I see. Thanks for the info. Cheol-soo's jaw dropped in shock. Is that really Dujun? It's not someone else, is it? He replied lazily. As you can see, I might have changed a bit, but I'm definitely Dujun. Glancing away, he asked. Where's my seat? I forgot a few things after the accident. Cheol-soo gave him a skeptical look. Amnesia? Highly suspicious. You're not Dujun, are you? He paused and looked around. Kiwoo, bring the fingerprint scanner over here. Hansong chimed in. He does look like Dujun, just way more handsome. Quickly bringing the scanner over, he said, Here, put your right thumb on the scanner. We'll believe you if it recognizes you. Naturally, Dujun cooperated. He promptly held out his hand. While everyone waited in suspense, the machine beeped. Rift Management Department employee. Lee Dujun confirmed. Cheol-soo couldn't believe it. Try it again. The mechanical voice repeated. Rift Management Department employee. Lee Dujun confirmed. He still wasn't satisfied, but the result remained the same after several tries, leaving Cheol-soo stunned. No way. How can a person change this much in just one day? Hansong remarked. Looks like the amnesia cured his stutter. He argued back. Even so, that doesn't explain how he got so tall so fast. She smiled brightly. How should I know? Dujun rubbed his temples. Could you just tell me where my seat is? Cheol-soo suddenly said. No. Go home and rest. He quickly advised Dujun. You've already been granted a leave of absence, so you can just come back to work tomorrow. He hesitated. But Cheol-soo turned Dujun around. I'll take you home. Let's go. He immediately declined. It's fine. I can go back by myself. It had been a very long time since Dujun walked down this familiar street, even though only a day had passed here. He walked while trying to recall his memories. I think this is my house. Slowly stepping into the once familiar hallway, Dujun felt a slight sense of alienation. He reached for the digital lock, but his hand paused. It seemed that spending so much time in another dimension had made him forget a few things. He wondered to himself, what was the passcode again? Just then, a voice called out from inside. Who is it? His eyes. Dujun suddenly froze. His lips parted slightly. Junhee stepped out from inside. Mister? Mister? Dujun was startled. What? He stood there, completely bewildered. Who are you? Afterward, the two of them went inside to talk. The atmosphere was somewhat stifling. Junhee sat up straight while Dujun took a sip of water. His eyes scrutinized her carefully. Looking at Junhee's tearful face, he asked again. So, according to what you're saying, you're the daughter of. Dujun paused before continuing. My older brother and his girlfriend, right? She happily jumped up and answered loudly. Yes, that's right. Setting his glass down, Dujun continued. But your mother passed away in an accident, and you had nowhere else to go, so I agreed to take you in. That's why you know the passcode and moved in today. Junhee obediently replied. Yes, exactly. Dujun paused, trying to dig through his memories. Have I ever met you before? Junhee hesitated. No, not yet. We've never met in person. Today is the first time. He rubbed his forehead and asked, Do you have any other family left? Junhee fiddled with her fingers to ease her nerves. My mom was an orphan, so I don't have anyone else to rely on. Dujun paused, his gaze suddenly landing on the plate of food on the table. What's this? Junhee answered honestly. It's omurice. I just thought I should make it for you for when you got off work. Dujun immediately cut to the chase. First of all, I can't let you stay here. Junhee shot up and raised her voice. But you clearly. She pulled out her phone, startling him. What's that? Junhee said. These are the messages we exchanged 2 days ago. It was true. Do-jun had agreed to take her in. He looked surprised. So I really said that, huh? Pausing for a moment, he replied. I was in the hospital until yesterday because of a car accident. I just got discharged today. Junhee was shocked. A car accident? Do-jun continued. Not just that. More importantly, I'm having some memory issues. Watching him, she asked worriedly. Are you okay? Do-jun replied coldly. My body is perfectly fine. Washing his glass, Do-jun said. The problem is my memories. It seems like it's going to be a hurdle in my daily life. He went on. So I don't have the capacity to worry about anyone else right now. I still need to get my own life back on track. Junhee was speechless for a moment. She looked at him hesitantly. Taking a deep breath, she made a serious proposal. Then, let's make a contract. Do-jun asked in surprise. A contract? She looked at him with teary eyes and said, Please be my dad, just until I graduate. Do-jun's eyes were still wide with astonishment. He immediately asked again. What? Grabbing his arm, she pleaded. Didn't you say you have memory issues? Living alone will be even harder then. It'll be tough for you to clean, do laundry, and cook all by yourself. So let me help you. Trying her best to convince him, Junhee begged earnestly. Just let me stay here until I graduate. She paused, her face crumpling. No, just half a year. At least until I can move into the dorms. Do-jun calculated in his head. The terms aren't bad at all. Actually, it's a pretty sweet deal. He pondered. I was in that other world for so long that it's going to take a while to get used to life here again. If there's anything I don't know, I can just ask her. Pausing for a moment, Do-jun started to find the idea appealing. Isn't this a win-win situation? Shortly after, he opened his bag. All right, let's draw up a contract then. Junhee was beyond surprised. A contract? Do-jun didn't say a word. He simply sat down and focused on writing on a piece of paper. Very quickly, he handed a completed contract over to Junhee. Do-jun told her, Let me know if there's anything you don't understand or want to change. According to the contract, he would provide for Junhee, and she would handle the chores. Quickly reading through it, Junhee stammered. It's fine. He asked again, Is there any part you don't understand or want to change? Looking a bit flustered, she replied, I don't. No, sir. Do-jun then held out a pen. Then sign here. Junhee's eyes suddenly welled up with tears. Her face scrunched up as if she was about to cry. Do-jun then said, Please take good care of me from now on, Miss Junhee. She stood up and bowed deeply. Yes, I'll do my best not to disappoint you. Junhee smiled brightly and added, Should I call you dad from now on? Do-jun replied, If you want to. Watching his back, she called out after him. Then call me Junhee. Speak comfortably with me. He replied casually. Good girl, Junhee. Looking at the contract now, she still couldn't believe it. He settled that really fast. Junhee then casually walked into the room while he was changing. Dad. Seeing Do-jun's bare body, she was startled. Junhee couldn't help but blush furiously. Quickly turning away, she covered her face with both hands. I'm sorry. Do-jun looked confused. Huh? For what? Junhee scratched her cheek and stammered. There's not much left in the fridge. I think we need to buy some groceries. Do-jun replied nonchalantly. Yeah, holding out a bank card to her, he said. Here, just use this card from now on. Taking it, Junhee looked a bit dazed. Then, she excitedly made a suggestion. Didn't you say you have memory issues, Dad? Do you want to go to the nearby grocery store with me? You might remember something. Do-jun didn't refuse. Sounds like a plan. Let's go. And so, the two of them quickly headed to the convenience store near their house. The vendor's shouts echoed through the air. Junhee said, Dad, based on your eating habits, I was thinking of making some vegetable dishes. Is that okay? He calculated in his head. Pork belly is on sale over there. But Do-jun didn't say it out loud. Thanks, Junhee. Just then, a loud crash startled them both. Do-jun immediately asked, What's going on? Seeing the massive crater that had appeared, people screamed in panic. Run. Right at that moment, Junhee immediately pulled out a gun and stepped in front of him. She yelled, A rift. Dad, it's dangerous here. Hurry and run. Just then, a green monster charged out of the rift. The civilians panicked. It's a goblin. While everyone else was scrambling in chaos, Du-jun stood there silently, not saying a word. At the same time, a gun was raised, aiming straight at it. It was Junie. She fired at the goblin with practiced ease. The bullet pierced right through its body. Du-jun was also taken aback seeing her act so fiercely. It roared, looking at the gaping hole in its chest. It seemed this wasn't an ordinary gun. Immediately after, the goblin collapsed to the ground. Everyone let out a sigh of relief. The monster is dead. Thank goodness there was a hunter nearby. Looking at Junhee, he thought to himself, so she's a hunter. Putting her gun away, Junhee scolded him. Didn't I tell you to run because it was dangerous? What if you got hurt? Du-jun replied softly. I'm sorry. I'll be more careful from now on. She looked up at him. Really? Du-jun quickly answered. Really, Junhee? Soon after, the police arrived at the scene. One goblin. No casualties. The police officer then spoke up. Excuse me. Are you the one who took care of the goblin? Du-jun straightforwardly pulled Junhee in front of him. It was my daughter. The officer looked surprised. I see. He then continued. Could I see your ID, please? If you provide your phone number, home address, and bank account details, we will transfer a compensation fee to you. He was surprised. Compensation? The officer quickly explained. It's for taking down the monster and the cost of the mana stone. Furthermore, since she protected the civilians, the government will issue a reward through the police department. The officer then asked Du-jun. You're her guardian, right? Please give me your account number, and we'll transfer the money to you. Du-jun looked over at the girl. Junhee, give him your account number. She was surprised. Really? Du-jun replied. Yeah, you're the one who killed it. Not expecting him to be so nice to her, Junhee blushed shyly. That evening, when the two of them returned home together, Junhee was cooking when her phone suddenly chimed. She quickly picked it up and looked at the screen. What's this? A message popped up. Please confirm the transferred amount. Unclosed rift, 50,000 won. Compensation fee, 100,000 won. Total, 150,000 won. From the Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency. Du-jun walked up from behind. That's a pretty big sum. Pausing for a moment, he added, if you can make this much money just from hunting one monster, why do you even need to stay here with me? Junhee smiled bitterly. That was just pure luck. Rifts appearing randomly like that is super rare. Plus, there's no guarantee it'll always be a weak goblin. Junhee explained further. Dungeons can only be entered by certified hunters who are part of a party. I don't have a hunter's license, so I can't go in. He paused before asking her. So, is there any specific mastery skill you want to learn? Junhee looked confused. What's that? He said. It's when you have the ability to receive and absorb external energy too. Thinking it over, Du-jun changed his mind. Actually, never mind. Junhee continued. You must be pretty surprised, huh? Actually, I got accepted into the National Hunter Academy. As she cooked, she explained. Even though I haven't awakened yet, I can still use mana. I'm not an official hunter, but I do have a license to use mana guns, so I'm allowed to carry one around. Du-jun couldn't help but praise her. That's really impressive. Not just anyone can become a hunter, right? She smiled brightly. That's why you have to treat me well. She innocently added. Because I plan on becoming super famous. A table full of food was served. Junhee said cheerfully. Thanks for the meal. Don't leave any leftovers. Just as she sat down, she asked. By the way, what do you do for a living, Dad? Du-jun replied. I work at City Hall. She looked intrigued. So you're a civil servant? He asked. Why do you ask? Junhee smiled brightly. No reason. I was just worried you might be doing something dangerous. Quickly pushing the plate of meat toward him, Junhee smiled. Eat up, Dad. The scene shifted to another area. The clock was striking 9. Du-jun returned to work as usual. Good morning. As soon as Cheol-soo saw him, he called out. Lee Du-jun. He asked worriedly. How are you feeling? Are you well enough to work? Du-jun replied casually. Yes, sir. Thank you for your concern. As you can see, I'm perfectly fine. Cheol-soo quickly sat down in his chair. If you feel unwell, you have to tell me immediately, okay? Health always comes first. Quickly pointing out his seat, he said, your desk is over there. Remember? Du-jun. As soon as he sat down, the young man next to him spoke up. Just ask me if you forget anything. He introduced himself again. I'm Kwon Hyuk-soo, your senior. Du-jun replied. Yes. Thank you. Cheol-soo looked at the clock and said, she should be here by now. Hyuk-soo chimed in. Just wait a bit. After all, they are amazing hunters. He looked exasperated. An F rank is considered amazing? He smiled gently. They're still hunters, regardless. Just then, a voice called out from the door. I'm so sorry. The girl ran in, panting heavily. It seemed she had been rushing. Wiping the sweat from her forehead, she smiled brightly between breaths. I'm sorry I'm late. Cheol-su, on the contrary, smiled happily. Oh my, I should have gone down to the lobby to greet you. Yi-ji hurriedly bowed deeply. Oh no, manager. It's my fault for being late. Hyuk-soo pointed at her and told him. Go say hi, Do-jun. She's our new contract hunter. Following his gesture, Do-jun merely turned his head casually. He stayed silent, not saying a word. Hyuk-soo smiled brightly and said, You probably don't know, huh? Come here. He then explained. Our department just took on the responsibility of exploring rifts, so we'll have to go out into the field with hunters quite often. Looking at the girl, Hyuk-soo introduced her. This is Hunter Cha Yi-ji. According to him, Do-jun was originally supposed to be in charge of this. Do-jun said casually, Nice to meet you. The girl looked incredibly surprised. Pausing for a moment, both of them turned to look at Hyuk-soo. He looked a bit flustered, an awkward smile quickly appearing on his face. Hyuk-soo continued, But given your current condition, I'll be taking over. Do-jun asked in confusion. You mean this was originally my job? Hyuk-soo smiled radiantly. That's right. However, it's better if I take it over for you. You look fine, but we don't know if you might suffer from any side effects, right? Cheol-soo quickly chimed in. At first, we were worried if you could handle the job well, but now you've even suffered a head injury. Do-jun wondered to himself. Oh, what is this? Am I being bullied? With that thought, he immediately interrupted him. No, I'll do it. Hyuk-soo hurriedly waved his hands. Huh, you don't have to push yourself, Do-jun. Cheol-soo yelled. I told you to go rest. You couldn't even find your own desk. Besides, we've already reported to the higher-ups that Hyuk-soo will be handling this. Standing amidst the loud chatter of the two men, Do-jun felt a bit annoyed. But Do-jun's voice suddenly turned ice cold. It's my job. Hearing that voice, which sounded like it echoed from hell, Hyuk-soo immediately stood up straight. Do-jun added, That settles it. After work, the scene shifted to the front of the company building. Cheol-soo grumbled in frustration. Is he out of his mind? Who knows what kind of accident might happen next? Hyuk-soo reassured him. I understand your concern, boss. Drinking his soda, he suggested. But let's just give him a chance. He's still a member of our team, after all. Seeing his nonchalant attitude, Cheol-soo seemed a bit baffled. In the end, he could only sigh. Fine. Meanwhile, Do-jun and Yi-ji were heading out on their assignment together. Reading the documents in his hands, he nodded to himself. I think I get the gist of this. Do-jun started calculating. Even with the limited time, I managed to read through it 5 times. Hopefully, that's enough to handle this. The main goal is to gather as much information about the rift as possible. From what Do-jun understood, this was originally meant to equip hunters. However, a lot of fake data had been circulating among the branches, causing a ton of problems, which led the government to step in and handle it. Just as Do-jun was deep in thought, a voice rang in his ear. I'm Cha Yi-ji. Thank you for working with me. I'm 21 years old. Do-jun finally noticed her. Sorry, I was reviewing some work documents. Yi-ji smiled brightly. It's okay. His gaze then shifted to what Yi-ji was holding. What's that? She hesitantly hugged the item to her chest. It's my suitcase. It has my combat suit and weapons inside. Just the essentials for fighting monsters. The driver then pulled over. We're here. The two of them got out of the car. Do-jun said politely. Thank you, sir. The two of them quickly walked forward. Yi-ji kept clutching the item tightly in her arms. A moment later, she opened it and took out a strange object. Do-jun was a bit curious. He immediately glanced over. Instantly, the sphere began to glow. A form-fitting combat suit materialized over Yi-ji's body. She looked like a warrior, holding a sword with an imposing aura that made even Do-jun let out a surprised, oh. Yi-ji turned to look at Do-jun. You've probably never seen this before, huh? He answered honestly. That's right. Continuing forward, Yi-ji said. This is the cheapest set, and it still cost me 3 million won. Pretty expensive, huh? Do-jun asked. What about that sword? She replied. It's a D-rank sword made from warrior bones. This one wasn't too expensive. Then she turned to ask him. By the way, what should I call you? Do-jun said coldly. It doesn't matter. Handing her weapon to the inspector at the gate, Yiji said, "Please hold this for me." She then told Du-jun, "Then I'll call you manager, since you manage the rifts." He replied indifferently, "Sure." The inspector then said, "Confirmed. You may enter." The two of them continued walking forward. The surroundings were eerily quiet. In front of them, a massive rift was forming. Yiji felt a bit nervous. She looked up. "This is my first time doing this alone." Just then, a mocking voice rang out. "Oh, look who it is." The large, dark-skinned man slowly walked over. "It's been a while. I thought you quit, but I guess not." As soon as she saw him, Yiji's face instantly went pale, and she flinched. Hanjong glanced at Du-jun and said, "You join a party too?" Yiji stammered. Hanjong didn't stop. He added, "So there actually is a place that would take you in? You can't even use mana." Yiji was being ridiculed, but she didn't dare talk back. Seeing her look miserable only amused him more. Making it this far is honestly amazing. "I'm complimenting you." Du-jun then turned to her. "Do you know him?" Yiji replied aggrievedly, "Yes. We went to the same academy to prepare to become hunters." His eyes kept scrutinizing them until Hanjong noticed something. He looked at Du-jun's name tag and burst into maniacal laughter. "You're working as a contract hunter." Hanjong pretended to wipe away a tear. "Makes sense. What party would ever accept you? This just proves you're only fit for F rank." Du-jun finally spoke up. "That's enough. You're being annoying." The guy looked down at him. Hanjong pointed at him and asked the two guys behind him, "What the hell is this guy saying?" With that, he walked up and glared at Du-jun. "You little pig." Hanjong immediately grabbed Du-jun by the throat and lifted him up. Yiji gasped. "Manager." Hanjong roared. "If I'm annoying, what are you going to do about it, Mr. Civil Servant?" He laughed mockingly as he spoke. "What are you going to do?" At that moment, Du-jun's eyes began to change. But then, the man was startled. Du-jun's cold, indifferent voice rang out. "I'll let this slide if you drop it in the next 3 seconds." Du-jun's eyes had now turned crimson. He looked like an evil god in that moment. The man had never felt such terror. Hanjong felt as if he was being suffocated by a dark, overwhelming power. Sweat poured down his face. Hanjong trembled so violently he was drenched in sweat, unable to breathe. "My pants." Seeing him standing frozen, Chong-suk walked up. "Nah, Hanjong, what's wrong?" Finally, unable to withstand the pressure, Hanjong collapsed to the ground. Chong-suk looked a bit worried. "What's wrong with you, Hanjong?" He kept stammering. "My pants. My pants." The other guy scoffed. "What the hell? You idiot, what did you eat this time?" He just crapped his pants. Yiji hadn't expected this to happen either. She covered her mouth in disgust to stop herself from screaming. Du-jun gave a faint smile and let out a breath. Then, he pretended to lean down. "What's wrong? Can you stand up?" However, the man knew he wasn't playing dumb. Those crimson eyes kept haunting him. Hanjong even heard a voice. "Nah, Hanjong. You lowly scum." He saw Du-jun as a demon. "If you still value your pathetic life, you'd better stay out of our way." With snot and tears streaming down his face, he stammered, "Understood, boss." Meanwhile, the other three couldn't bear to watch this pathetic sight any longer. Du-jun immediately walked away. "Let's go before we run into anything else disgusting." Yiji quickly followed. "Yes, sir." The two of them hurried forward. In front of everyone was a massive rift. Du-jun reached out his hand, slowly probing the inside. Finally, the two of them crossed over to the other side. Beneath their feet was a landscape of lush green grass. As soon as they crossed, they looked around. Du-jun gazed into the distance. "So this is an F-rank rift, huh? It's pretty barren in here." Just then, the system announced, "Welcome to the Rift Management System." The operation screen popped up. "You have registered a rift in Seoul, Gangdong District. Myeonjildong, 002. Yiji found it fascinating. The voice rang out again. "Please select the rift's rank." You have selected F rank. If you find this rift more difficult than the selected rank, please refer to. The notification continued. The mini-map is now online. Du-jun looked satisfied. "Okay, looks like we're ready." Once everything was set, he turned to ask Yiji, "Ready to go?" She smiled cheerfully. "I'll lead the way." All this time, Du-jun had been quietly observing her expressions. Yiji's inner voice echoed. "I might have just been a baggage carrier before, but now I have the responsibility to protect someone else." Plus, thinking of this, she grew even more determined. I need to prove to the manager that I'm more than just a contract hunter. As they walked for a bit, they both noticed a loud noise and looked over. A group of people below were discussing among themselves. Okay, let's wrap it up for today, Jun said casually. Looks like quite a few hunters got here before us. Yiji looked incredibly disappointed. Oh no. She was so disappointed she slumped to the ground. I wanted to prove how reliable I am. Jun replied coldly. This is fine too. If we don't have to deal with those annoying goblins, we can move through the map faster. That means we get to go home early. He paused. Suddenly, Jun looked a bit surprised. Looking at her stats, he was slightly taken aback. Aren't these the stats of a normal person? It clearly stated, Hunter Management System. Name, Cha Yiji. Level, 4. Title, None. Strength, 6. Agility, 11. Stamina, 8. Mana, 0. He paused. His eyes. Jun's gaze lingered. He looked at the rest of her information and sighed. Skill, Scholar's Swordsmanship. Type, Passive. Rank, S. Benefit, can learn the skill Scholar's Swordsmanship. Current stage. 1. You cannot gather mana until you reach stage 3. Immediately, he asked his question. Miss Yiji, is your awakened skill Scholar's Swordsmanship? Hearing this, she was surprised. You saw it in my status window? Yiji then answered honestly. That's right. At first, I was super thrilled because it's a rare S-rank skill. I was even the top student when I first entered the academy. She trembled as she spoke. I aced all the written exams with perfect scores and never lost a single sparring match. That was truly my peak. Jun interrupted. Miss Yiji. Ignoring him calling her name, she gritted her teeth. But I got stuck at the skill stage. What am I supposed to do when I don't even have mana? Jun patiently called out again. Miss Yiji. Yiji completely ignored him. It says I can gather mana starting from stage 3, but I don't even know how to reach stage 2. What else can I do but try my best? No matter how hard I try, I'll probably just fail anyway. Just then, Jun walked over, scooped Yiji up, and yelled, Miss Cha Yiji. Before she could even process what was happening, something attacked the exact spot where Yiji had just been standing. Looking back, it was a weapon belonging to the goblins. Looking at them, she trembled. Goblins? Since when? Jun quickly snapped her out of it. Don't just stand there frozen, Miss Cha Yiji. He leaned in and whispered in Yiji's ear. It's time to take care of these guys. She immediately replied. Yes, boss. With that, Jun shoved her forward. Go get him. Yiji stammered. Fight. Fight. Her expression quickly hardened. I need to focus and control it. Shaking off her thoughts, she charged forward. Using her skill, Yiji swept her leg out in a wide arc, knocking a goblin down. Not stopping there, Yiji raised her arm and leaped into the air. The sword in her hand slashed fiercely across the goblin's face. Seeing that the wound wasn't deep, she felt a bit regretful. Too shallow. The moment the opportunity arose, Yiji flew over and stomped down. This is it. Instantly, the goblin took a direct kick from Yiji, but it seemed she was too strong. The goblin stumbled backward, losing its balance. Right then, a hint of fear flashed in its eyes. Yiji was quick. She swung her sword, severing the goblin's head from its neck. One down. Yiji dropped to her knees, panting heavily, drenched in sweat. Yiji then turned around and said happily, Did you see that? Even if I can take down goblins easily. Looking at Jun, she panicked. Manager, there's a goblin coming right at you. Yiji was terrified. Stunned, she screamed. Watch out. Despite her frantic shouting, Jun remained completely unfazed. Right at that moment, the goblin swung wildly at him, but somehow, it completely missed. Yiji's jaw dropped in shock. She never expected Jun to be this badass. In the blink of an eye, the goblin was sent flying backward. Yiji couldn't even see what he did, but with the second strike, the goblin plummeted into a pit. Seeing his nonchalant attitude, Yiji gaped in awe. That was so cool. Pausing for a moment, Jun said, We're still in the middle of a fight. Focus on the enemy. Hearing this, both Yiji and the nearby goblin were momentarily stunned. As soon as it regained its senses, it charged straight at her again. But it seemed Yiji was struggling against this next goblin. The massive wooden club in its hand swung frantically at her. Yiji was incredibly flustered. For a girl like her, Fighting so many goblins at once was just too difficult. Seeing her struggle, Dujun asked, "You're already tired after taking down just two?" Yiji replied, "No way. I'm still fine." Meanwhile, the goblin held nothing back and lunged at her again. In that split second, Yiji failed to dodge its attack. She was knocked back, stumbling several steps. Seeing Yiji overpowered, the goblin let out a wicked, satisfied grin. She gritted her teeth, sweat dripping down her forehead. Yiji didn't give up. Gripping her sword tightly, she let out a battle cry and charged forward. The goblin lunged at her as well, and the two clashed. Dujun simply stood there casually, even as Yiji began to struggle. Finally, unable to hold back, he let out a sigh. "Miss Yiji, you should know that the basics of swordsmanship aren't about aggressive attacks," Dujun called out. "You need to use the enemy's momentum against them to deliver a strike with minimal effort." He continued instructing her. "For now, take a step back and take a deep breath. Your spinning strike just now was unstable because your breathing was off." Following his advice, she immediately created a safe distance and shouted back, "Understood." Yiji took a deep breath exactly as Dujun instructed. It seemed she truly respected his words. Looking at the goblin, he guided her again. "Pay attention to the enemy. As you can see, it's just as tired as you are. It won't last much longer." Dujun's eyes were deep and focused. "Focus on its next attack, and you'll find an opening." Yiji was dead serious. She shouted with determination. Watching the goblin charging at her, Dujun added, "A swift and powerful counterattack is ideal for this situation." Tracking its attack trajectory, he said, "The most important thing right now is timing the enemy's strike." Looking back at Yiji, he spoke like a true master. "Miss Yiji, I want you to show me the true essence of scholar's swordsmanship." Now, her eyes. Yiji's gaze turned icy cold. The goblin immediately swung at her, letting out ear-piercing screeches. Right then, the goblin brought its club down, but something strange happened. Its face suddenly went pale, its mouth hanging open in sheer shock. Yiji already had her sword pressed against its neck. The goblin didn't even have time to react. Following his guidance, she had done it. And now, the goblin could only gape in disbelief. The sharp blade sliced through, and the goblin's blood sprayed out like a fountain. Yiji panted heavily, sweat pouring down her forehead. Dujun looked satisfied. Now that looks like a true master of scholar's swordsmanship. The sky was gradually turning to evening. The setting sun painted the area like a brilliant masterpiece. After the two of them exited the rift, Dujun praised her. "Good job. Thanks to you, we finished exploring the rift with ease. Ready to head back?" She panted in exhaustion. "Let me rest for a bit." Dujun looked at the system panel in his hand and said, "You hunted a total of 17 goblins today. You could have made a lot of money if you went solo. Why didn't you?" Yiji quickly stood up and dusted herself off. "I don't do this for the money. I just want to join a party." Pausing for a moment, she quickly looked at him. "By the way, manager, you're hiding your true strength, aren't you?" Dujun replied, "No. What nonsense are you talking about?" Yiji argued. "But you know so much about swordsmanship. It's really weird." Dujun didn't answer and just brushed it off. "I'm heading back first." Yiji knew he didn't want to talk about it, but she fell deep into thought. Night fell, and the city sparkled with lights. On the bustling streets, pedestrians hurried by. In the shadows, a figure was hiding around the corner. The figure seemed to be tailing Dujun, but he just kept walking casually. After a while, Dujun finally decided not to ignore it anymore. Feeling exasperated, Dujun let out a sigh. He turned around and called out, "I won't turn the corner if you come out in the next 10 seconds. 10. He started counting down. 9, 3, 2. Right then, Yiji frantically dashed out. The two of them fell silent as Yiji stood there, panting heavily. Dujun looked a bit surprised and asked, "Why are you following me?" She quickly replied, "Because I haven't gotten an answer from you yet." Dujun was confused. "What answer?" Yiji replied shyly, "About whether you're hiding your true strength." Dujun immediately turned his face away. "Since you followed me all the way home, come in and have something to eat before you leave." Yiji hesitated. "Thank you, manager." The scene shifted to the apartment building where Dujun lived. Yiji quietly followed behind him. She hadn't said a word the whole time. After a moment, Yiji spoke up. "Manager, come to think of it, it's getting late. Maybe I should just go home." He looked at her and reassured her. "We're almost there." It's dinner time anyway. Dinner should be ready by now. Yi was surprised by his words. Ready? Du-jun explained. I live with my daughter. Hearing this, Yi was shocked. She stammered. Why your daughter? Before going in, Du-jun warned her. And keep our work a secret. My daughter thinks I'm just a normal civil servant. She quickly bowed her head. Yes, sir. She felt a bit down. He got married really early. Is it okay for me to be intruding like this? I feel kind of bad since they might be newlyweds. Just then, Junhee rushed out from inside. Welcome home, Dad. Seeing how grown-up she was, Yi was startled. Oh my God. She felt like she'd been struck by lightning. Father and daughter. Why is his daughter so big? Yi stood there dumbfounded, thinking to herself. I thought he was only 26. Or is she some kind of mutant kindergartner? Is his nickname at home Dad? This makes no sense. Junhee looked at her warily. Who is this, Dad? Du-jun said casually. A co-worker. Hearing this, Yi awkwardly smiled and introduced herself. I'm the manager's co-worker. I mean, Du-jun's co-worker. Junhee remained suspicious of her. Is that so? Yi stammered. Junhee turned to him doubtfully. Really, Dad? Du-jun replied tiredly. She works in the same branch as me. Can we go inside now? Junhee happily opened the door. Of course. As soon as she stepped inside, Yi was amazed. Your house is so clean. Junhee quickly tried to shoo her away. We're about to have dinner, so it's best if you just have some tea and leave. Du-jun then dropped a bomb that completely annoyed her. She's going to eat with us. Go set the table. Even though she didn't want to, Junhee obediently complied. Seeing her strong reaction, Du-jun wondered. Is she going through puberty? Hearing his words, she snapped. I am not. She paused. Yi was also startled. She looked at Junhee's pouting face and her overall attitude. Yi went pale and thought to herself. Don't tell me. After a while, the three of them sat down at the table. Yi said cheerfully. Thanks for the meal. Yi tried to be friendly. You're a really good cook. You even know how to make kimchi stew. Junhee didn't give her an inch. I bought it. Yi kept trying to make conversation, but it was a constant back and forth. Pickled radish. Supermarket. Seaweed soup. Instant food brand. Rolled omelet. Side dish shop. Pausing for a moment, Junhee suddenly looked over and asked curiously, Is that a suitcase? Yi answered quickly, glad to finally catch a topic with the girl. That's right. I'm a hunter, you see, even though I'm just an F rank. Then, forgetting herself, she blabbered on. It's not worth much, but it's made from wood lab. And also, at that moment, Yi realized she had slipped up. Catching Du-jun's icy glare, she stammered. I'm sorry. Junhee now felt suspicious. A hunter? But Dad is just a normal civil servant. He quickly stood up and tossed his dishes into the sink. It's just her side job. She'll get in trouble if people find out. Keep it a secret. Just then, Junhee suddenly slammed her hands on the table and shot up from her seat. Yi was momentarily terrified. A chill ran down her spine, seeing Junhee. But the girl's demeanor instantly changed. That's so cool. I want to be a hunter too. Junhee pulled out her certificate. I've been studying at the National Hunter Academy for 3 months now. Yi felt embarrassed. It's nothing special. I'm only an F rank. Junhee didn't care about the rank. So what? You're a hunter. That means you passed the exam, right? Yi stammered. I guess so. Junhee then asked excitedly. What class are you? Melee? Ranged? Or a mage? A healer, right? After the two of them chatted happily, time flew by. It's getting late. Before leaving, Yi said her goodbyes. Sorry for staying so long, manager. I mean, Du-jun. I'll head back on my own. Junhee smiled. I had a lot of fun today. Yi replied. Me too, Junhee. Yi seemed to really like the girl. I'll come visit again next time. But Junhee's expression instantly changed. No thanks. Don't bother. Yi asked innocently. Why not? She immediately gave it to her straight. Once I dislike someone, it's hard to change my mind. Hearing Junhee's words, Yi was so stressed she started sweating. Right. Du-jun then said. Go back inside, Junhee. I'll walk her to the subway station. Even though Junhee didn't like it, she forced a smile and said, Come back soon, Dad. Afterward, the two of them walked to the station together. Yi asked him with interest. Junhee isn't your biological daughter, is she? Du-jun hesitated. What are you talking about? Yi replied. Your ages don't match up at all. You're 26 and she's 17. You don't wear a wedding ring. and there aren't any wedding photos in the house. She continued with her deductions. Not only that, but Junie's last name is Seo. That means she's not your biological daughter, and you're not married, right, manager? Do-jun's face darkened. You're pretty sharp about this stuff. Yi-ji asked again. What's your relationship with her? As she spoke, she pulled out her phone and dialed the police. It's not anything dangerous, right? Do-jun was flustered. You're acting like it's a real crime. He then answered honestly. She's my niece. Due to unforeseen circumstances, my older brother can't take care of her right now. Hearing this, Yi-ji's face softened with sympathy. She said quietly, I understand. Sorry for being nosy. Do-jun replied. It depends on the situation. Just keep this a secret. Yi-ji naturally agreed. Got it. After walking a bit further, Do-jun said, This is far enough. Yi-ji smiled. Thank you. Get home safe. Watching him walk away into the distance, Yi-ji suddenly realized something. She wondered, so his older brother's last name is Seo? Thinking about it, Yi-ji felt like something wasn't quite right. Pausing for a moment, she muttered to herself, Whatever. Time to go home. The next day, at Do-jun's workplace. Looking at the pile of paperwork, Cheol-soo was amazed. You finished all this in one day? Do-jun asked casually. Is there a problem? He stammered. That's not it. Cheol-soo's jaw dropped in shock. It's absolutely perfect. Did you really do this all by yourself? Normally, it would take months to gather all this data. Cheol-soo then looked at the other employee. Kwon Hyuk-soo, did you help him with this? He quickly replied, Of course not. I'm pretty surprised myself. He gave a thumbs up and smiled brightly. Great job, Do-jun. Looks like I'll have to work harder too. Do-jun casually bowed his head. Thank you. Yi-ji then cheerfully chimed in. I didn't know you were so good at your job, manager. He looked over in surprise. Why are you here? You didn't need to come in today. Yi-ji explained. When did I get here? I just dropped by since I was in the area. Do-jun casually sat down. Suit yourself. Your salary stays the same anyway. Right then, a piece of paper was handed to him. Here, Do-jun. He looked at the paper. What's this? Hyuk-soo happily explained. It's the schedule for the hunter rank evaluation. Since you're managing someone now, you need to know about this too. And this is the hunter rank evaluation. Every hunter is required to take a rank evaluation test once a year. Based on the score they achieve, their rank can either go up or down. Therefore, it's a huge day for hunters. Do-jun replied. So it's basically a system that determines their worth? From what Do-jun knew, there were hundreds of parties in South Korea alone. These parties competed with each other to recruit higher-ranked members. And because of that, this was also the time when countless hunters transferred from one party to another. Do-jun understood that the rank evaluation day was essentially the opening of the transfer season. Hyuk-soo whispered to him, That's what the boss is most worried about. Do-jun asked, Because if contract hunters get a higher rank, they tend to leave and join another party? Hyuk-soo replied, Hit the nail on the head. As he spoke, he sat down and typed on his computer. Anyway, it would be better if Miss Cha Yi-ji just got an average score. That way, we can keep working together. Let's see. Miss Yi-ji is scheduled to take the test in a week. This will be her first test too. Do-jun looked over at Yi-ji. Do you plan on transferring if you get a higher rank? She said, No way. Actually, I want to renew my contract. He turned away and replied, I can't make that decision for you. Do-jun seemed a bit deep in thought. Either way, it would be good if you could raise your rank before the evaluation. It'll make exploring rifts easier for me. Not only that, but your annual salary will increase too. Yi-ji said, No matter what you say, I'll always be in F rank. He didn't say anything, just turned to look at her again. Do-jun assessed the situation. A curse that prevents the use of mana. The hunter rank evaluation is determined by proficiency, stats, and average combat experience. The sum of all these factors determines a hunter's rank. But according to Do-jun's assessment, the most important factor is still the amount of mana a person possesses. Hunters can use mana stones to enhance their physical abilities. And that process is called mana implantation. But for Cha Yi-ji, things like that were completely useless. Do-jun racked his brain. If she doesn't have any mana in her body to begin with, raising her rank to E is practically impossible. Thinking of this, he replied, Even so, we won't know unless you try. Yi-ji pouted. I know myself too well. I was born to be in F rank. Do-jun then said, Then it looks like I'll only be getting F rank assignments too. He stood up. Since you're the only hunter assigned to me, Your rank determines the level of the rifts I'll be working on. Yiji hesitated. But if you take on someone else, you'd be able to do so much more. Dujun replied. That's true. Maybe I should do that. I could just put out a notice that I'm looking for a hunter. Pausing for a moment, he looked into her eyes and declared, Miss Yiji, my one and only hunter, come with me. The scene shifted to the hunter training room. As soon as they arrived, Yiji asked, This is? Dujun said. This place used to be an office. He glanced around and explained. We renovated it into a training room. Honestly, this is my first time in here too. Dujun explained as he demonstrated. The materials used were provided by the Hunter Association, so it's practically immune to attacks. Pausing for a moment, he added, About why you don't have mana. Yiji looked surprised. Dujun asked again, Have you tried physical enhancement? Yiji answered cheerfully, I have. But you know, I have to reach stage 3 of Scholar's Swordsmanship before I can gather mana. At this point, Yiji teared up. That's the worst part. Dujun then grew curious. Can you show me? Yiji quickly dug into her bag. Wait a sec. I don't know if I brought my notebook. She then handed over a thick notebook. Here it is. Dujun replied. Thanks. Flipping through it, Dujun quickly praised her. You took a lot of notes. Yiji replied. Yeah, but I don't really understand all of it. Inside, it was written, there is something called the three bodies. The universe was created by three entities, heaven, earth, and humanity. Because everything in the universe begins with these three entities. I see. Yiji added. On the back, I even drew illustrations of the movement techniques. Hearing this, Dujun stayed silent. He remained focused on reading through the notebook. Yiji felt a bit embarrassed. Sorry, my drawings aren't that great. Dujun said. I'm not entirely sure, but this looks similar to three-body swordsmanship. Yiji was incredibly surprised to hear that. Three-body swordsmanship? Not Scholar's Swordsmanship? Dujun said. Scholar's Swordsmanship originated from three-body swordsmanship anyway. Everyone says so. Jin Sugu, the Sword Saint. According to the records, he was a wandering scholar who appeared out of nowhere like a comet across the sky. After defeating the strongest warrior under the heavens at the time in a duel, he left without a trace. He was able to reinterpret the contemporary understanding of three-body swordsmanship and was a genius among geniuses. And from then on, he called it Scholar's Swordsmanship. He recounted to Yiji. Legend has it that he disappeared after passing down that sword technique to the warrior he had just defeated. At this point, Dujun let out a quiet sigh. Finally, he decided to tell her. Miss Yiji. She answered cheerfully. Yes. Seeing him suddenly place his hand on her shoulder, she let out a startled yelp. Dujun leaned in closer. No one is as lucky to receive that ability as you are. Hearing this, she was still completely bewildered. Huh. Meanwhile, the clock was ticking closer to the hour. Cheol-su broke into a sly grin. His expression had never looked so cunning. Finally, the minute hand neared the 12th. Watching the hand hit the hour, Cheol-su's eyes gleamed even brighter. Finally, quitting time had arrived. Yet Dujun was even faster than him. I'm heading out. Yiji hurriedly ran after him. See you all later. Cheol-su took a sip of water and observed. What's going on? They've only known each other for a few days, but they sure go out together a lot. Is there something going on between those two? Hyuk-su replied cheerfully. I think the girl likes him. He was surprised. You feel it too? Hyuk-su answered casually. Only an idiot wouldn't notice. His face grew even more sly. But it seems Dujun hasn't noticed a thing. Meanwhile, Yiji was focused on her training. Her movements were masterful, the sword in her hand gliding smoothly through the air. In a short amount of time, Yiji had managed to improve significantly. Finally, Yiji finished her training. She looked at her hands in sheer amazement. I can feel it. It's mana. Yiji summoned her status window. Name, Cha Yiji. Level, 4. Title, None. Strength, 6. Agility, 11. Stamina, 8. Mana, 10. Skill, Scholar's Swordsmanship. There was more information below. Skill, Knight's Swordsmanship. Type, Passive. Rank, S. Benefit, can learn the skill Scholar's Swordsmanship. Current stage, 3. Dujun clapped his hands in satisfaction. You reached stage 3 in just 1 week. Well done. Yiji was overjoyed. Manager, I'm so lucky to have met you. He didn't deny it. Definitely. We'll bring this up when we renew your contract. Hearing this, Yi smiled brightly. Okay. Pausing for a moment, she then added. Also, seeing her hesitate, he asked, what is it? Yi couldn't hold back anymore. You're hiding your true strength, aren't you? Hearing this question, Du-jun let out a sigh. Du-jun didn't answer. He turned away. See you tomorrow at the Hunter Association. Yi smiled. Yes. Get home safe. The scene shifted to the next day at the Hunter Association. Right after, the two of them walked to the arena together. Du-jun glanced over and asked, is this your first rank evaluation? Yi said cheerfully, I did something similar when I took the Hunter exam, but this is my first time since then. Du-jun then said, your hard work will definitely pay off. Do your best. Yi smiled happily. Yes. Thank you. Suddenly, the crowd erupted into a commotion. It's Kong Minhyuk. Looking over to the other side, they murmured. And Han Minji too. Two S-rank hunters. And right after, the three of them walked inside. Minji smiled brightly. Excuse me. Coming through. Minhyuk, on the other hand, had a cold expression. He didn't say a word and looked incredibly annoyed. Du-jun quickly asked, are they famous? She was surprised. You don't know them? Yi explained. They're ranked 7th and 10th in the world, and they're from the EC Guild. Those two are among the strongest hunters globally. Du-jun's gaze swept over them. He seemed to be sizing up the people in front of him. The backs of Minji and Minhyuk were radiating a dense, murderous aura, and Du-jun could see all of it. He then said casually, it's nothing. If you work hard, you can catch up to them in a year. Hearing their conversation, the crowd behind them scoffed. Catch up to them in a year? Are those two out of their minds? Yi blushed furiously. Manager, don't say such embarrassing things. Minhyuk grumbled in annoyance. Minji, why do we have to be in a place like this? She glanced over. Watch your expression. There are a lot of cameras around. Just then, a voice rang out. Minji immediately turned around. Isn't this more fun than just fighting monsters all day? Pausing for a moment, she smiled brightly. Besides, a true genius is supposed to appear this time, right? Even though his face was flushed red, Minji continued. I get tricked like this all the time. We can't lose that talent to another guild. Hurry up. If we're late, we'll have to sit on the floor. Minhyuk hurriedly said. Wait a sec. He stood there, completely speechless. Hanjong grinned. Did you hear that? Looks like the person they're talking about is me. At this point, his eyes suddenly turned cold. I can't wait. The two guys behind him mocked. Or maybe you'll crap your pants again later. Did you bring a change of clothes, buddy? Hanjong snapped. Shut up. Meanwhile, a young man announced loudly. Let's begin with the stat measurement. New hunters, please step forward in order. Du-jun looked at her. It's starting. Let's go. Yi replied cheerfully. Yes. Hanjong yelled from his side. Get ready to welcome me. EC Guild. Over here. The crowd immediately gathered around. Soon after, everyone began their evaluations. As soon as the first person placed his hand on the scanner, the crowd gasped. Strength, 10. Agility, 4. Stamina, 9. Mana, 2. Preliminary rank evaluation, C. rank. The man standing behind him cheered excitedly. I knew you could do it. At the same time, several people nearby approached him. Hello. I'm the HR manager of the Kangdong Guild. Another person stepped forward. I'm Cho Hae-jin from the Buffalo Guild. Very quickly, the C-rank young man became the center of attention. Most of the hunters in my guild are C-rank or higher, and we provide free weapons and gear, minimum D rank, for all new members. We'll also double your current salary. Yi was squeezed so tight she couldn't move. Please make way. As soon as he saw Yi come out, Du-jun asked, Are you done with your measurement? Yi happily raised her hand. Yes, I got D rank. She excitedly rattled off her stats. Strength, 6, Agility, 11, Stamina, 8, and Mana, 10. My mana increased significantly. Du-jun said casually. Congratulations. He then told Yi, Shall we go in? She immediately agreed. Yes. As soon as he saw the monsters inside, Du-jun assessed the situation. Looks pretty tough. Makes sense, it's a C-rank rift. He then told Yi, Get ready. You're up next. Yi immediately asked, Manager, can I really challenge a C-rank rift? Du-jun casually scratched his cheek. Don't worry. You can handle it. Seeing his attitude, Yi felt a bit anxious. How can you be so sure? He told her. Just believe it, and it will be. Yi teared up. How am I supposed to believe that? Just then, the announcement blared over the speakers. 3 C-rank rifts will be activated shortly. Du-jun then told her. Go in and get ready. Yi obediently ran off. Yes. Very quickly, Yi came out, her combat suit fully equipped. Looking at the crowd, she thought to herself, is it because so many people are watching that I'm getting more and more nervous? Right then, a loud voice rang out. Cha Yi. Recognizing the voice instantly, she froze like a statue. Hanjong spoke again. What? Why are you here? Yi stammered. Well? He retorted. Well what? She said quietly. I'm here. Hanjong pressed on. Here for what? Hearing her, he immediately yelled. Challenge. Challenge. You want to challenge a C-rank rift? The more he spoke, the louder he yelled. Are you crazy? Yi didn't understand why he was acting like this. She stammered. I'm sorry. Hanjong face-bombed in disbelief. In all my life, this is the first time I've ever seen an F-rank dare to challenge a C-rank rift. The crowd started murmuring. What's going on? There's an F-rank hunter here? F-rank. Everyone's eyes immediately locked onto her. That gear looks familiar. Wow. So reckless. There are so many arrogant kids who don't know their own limits. Hanjong continued to mock her. This chick is seriously delusional. You don't even have mana, and you want to challenge a C-rank? Pausing for a moment, his eyes widened and his jaw dropped in shock. Hanjong frantically looked around. Is that demon somewhere around here? Meanwhile, Du-jun stood perfectly still, his eyes eerily calm. Just then, a voice from the outside spoke up. Seoul Rift Management Department. Min-hyuk looked at him. Cha Yi, contract hunter. Employee in charge. Lee Du-jun, 26 years old. Du-jun replied casually. That's right. Min-hyuk, on the other hand, was surprised. You don't seem surprised at all. But in response to his surprise, Du-jun said nothing. Min-hyuk replied. I was just briefly mentioning your name. Du-jun asked. What is your purpose in speaking to me? Min-hyuk said. I want to recruit Miss Cha Yi into my guild. He continued. Mana implantation only happens once, at stage 1. An F-rank mana stone is given to anyone when they receive their first hunter certificate. As he spoke, he pushed an item forward. Yet she managed to increase her mana to 10 just from an F-rank mana stone implantation. Min-hyuk went on. After that, mana implantation cannot be performed a second time. So that is bizarrely illogical. Du-jun thought to himself. Well, it wasn't because of the mana implantation anyway. From what he knew, the EC guild would give her wings. If she joins our guild, she could reach A rank or even higher. We will pass down the knowledge of our seniors, take her to high-rank rifts and raids, and equip her with real combat experience. Min-hyuk then challenged him. And what can your management department do for her? Seeing him stay silent, Min-hyuk pressed on. Raise her salary? According to him, someone with 0 experience was being sent to challenge a C-rank rift. How dare you let her do that? Min-hyuk's voice turned cold. I want to ask, what is going through your heads? Do you think this is a game? At that moment, inside, the C-rank rift was activated. According to the announcer. For this challenge, please eliminate the orcs within the time limit. Meanwhile, the monsters were finally released. Hanjong grinned in excitement. It's finally starting. On the other side, Yi quickly raised her sword. Min-hyuk quickly spoke up. Our guild can turn her into a true hunter. Looking at Du-jun, he added. If you want her to survive in this cutthroat hunter world, hand her over to us. Min-hyuk stepped closer. If you truly care about her. However, Du-jun didn't seem to care and just brushed it off with a hum. Du-jun then said, First of all, whether she joins your guild or not is entirely up to her. The corners of his lips curled up. Care to make a bet with me? Min-hyuk seemed a bit wary. He silently stared at Du-jun. The scene shifted to the C-rank rift area. Hanjong aggressively yelled, Come to Papa, babies. He ordered the person behind him. Cha Yi, brace yourself. She answered confidently. A massive orc growled at them. Hanjong immediately tightened his grip on his weapon. You dare challenge a C-rank hunter. The next second, the orc swung its massive club and charged forward. A flash of light suddenly appeared. Hanjong instinctively raised his weapon to block the attack. He screamed in panic. The orc continued to aggressively hammer down with heavy blows. Hanjong struggled to defend himself. He panicked internally. How is this possible? It's way stronger than me. The attacks rained down relentlessly, and Hanjong's knees quickly buckled. Trembling, he screamed, "I can't hold it anymore." The orc brutally smashed a punch into Hanjong's face. He staggered and collapsed to the ground, howling in pain. It's too strong. Even the weapon in his hand was knocked away. Hanjong immediately panicked. My hammer. The orc closed in, preparing to deliver a finishing blow with its club. Hanjong shrieked. Stop. His face was deathly pale. Wait. Right at that moment, Yiji suddenly leaped behind the orc. Take this. Losing her balance, she stumbled and fell to the ground. Hanjong froze on the spot. Cha Yiji. She quickly sprang back up and looked back to reassure him. Stay there. I'll take care of this one. Hanjong was utterly bewildered. What the hell are you talking about? Opposite them, the orc growled at Yiji. It attacked frantically, swinging its heavy club. Yiji dodged with practiced ease, time and time again. She calculated silently. I figured out its attack pattern. In that case, Yiji made up her mind. Let's do this. Her figure flickered in and out of sight as she moved around the orc. Flashes of sword light continuously sparked. The orc roared in pain, its eyes darting around frantically, searching for Yiji. Right after, the orc's eyes widened in terror. Yiji spun in midair, preparing to launch an attack from above. She gripped her sword tightly. A sharp streak of light sliced down the orc's body. Yiji unleashed her move. Scholar's swordsmanship, first skill, Scholar's strike. She landed firmly, smiling as she watched the flesh split into two right before her eyes. The onlooker's jaws dropped in astonishment. The movements of the others inside the rift also ground to a halt. Hanjong's eyes widened in sheer disbelief. As if he had predicted this outcome, Dujun nodded slightly in satisfaction. Minhyuk exclaimed in shock. Impossible. Dujun chuckled and asked him, Is it that impressive? It should be known that every hunter has 3 methods of using mana. The first is channeling mana into a weapon to reinforce its power, weapon enhancement. The second is releasing mana through a weapon, mana emission. And the third is replacing mana with other elements, mana substitution. Channeling mana into a weapon isn't hard at all. However, the difficulty lies in controlling it. Minhyuk still hadn't recovered from his shock. She used weapon enhancement. Absolutely perfectly. At that moment, the announcement rang out. The test has concluded. Hunters who have completed the test may exit the testing room. Everyone sighed in relief. Wow, that was tough. Someone immediately agreed. I almost died in there. Only Hanjong remained frozen in place. Why does it feel like something is wrong? He looked up to find the results screen. Looking at the rankings, Cha Yiji stood out with 8 kills. Dead last was Na Hanjong with a big fat 0. Hanjong screamed in frustration. Damn it, it's her. Meanwhile, as soon as Yiji walked out the door, she called out happily. Manager. She couldn't hide the excitement in her voice. I really did it. Dujun replied softly. Yeah, you trained really hard. Yiji shook her head vigorously. It's all thanks to you, manager. She suddenly locked eyes with Minhyuk standing right there. What? He offered a friendly smile and praised her. That was truly an amazing fight. Yiji scratched her cheek shyly. Not at all. For an F-rank hunter. Minhyuk immediately cut her off. You used the weapon enhancement skill. It was absolutely perfect. Did someone teach you? Yiji looked at Dujun in confusion. It was. He directly interjected. Yiji trained all by herself. Minhyuk looked skeptical. Really? Yiji darted her eyes around and admitted. Yes. She scratched her head and laughed awkwardly. I didn't know it was that amazing. Minhyuk suddenly called out. Hunter Yiji. She blurted out a response. His expression was incredibly serious. I'll get straight to the point. I want you to join the Icarus Guild. Minhyuk tried his hardest to persuade her. If there's anything you want, as long as it's within my power, I'll get it for you. Before he could even finish, Yiji smiled apologetically. That's a truly wonderful offer, but I'll have to decline. Minhyuk asked in disbelief. Miss. Dujun directly cut off the conversation. Let's go. Yiji turned to look at him. Yes, manager. Seeing this, Minhyuk immediately panicked. Wait. Please reconsider. Opportunities like this don't come around often. We can offer you so much more than Seoul City Hall. Yiji put on an awkward expression. I'm sorry. I prefer working at Seoul City Hall. Minhyuk looked puzzled for a moment. Then, remembering something, he couldn't help but laugh. Going back to a little earlier, Dojin had taken the initiative to propose. Want to make a bet? I bet Yeji will take down at least 5 monsters. If I lose, I'll tell Yeji to join the Icarus Guild. He specifically emphasized, but if I win, you transfer a rank A equipment set to me. Deal. Minyuk had cheerfully agreed at the time. All right, you're on. Cutting to Seoul City Hall, a joyful cheer rang out. Yeji happily hugged the card in her hands. I'm a rank C hunter now. Chansu clapped in admiration. Wow, jumping straight from rank F to rank C. Hyuksu gave a thumbs up. That's awesome. Saying that, he looked worriedly at his phone screen. But Miss Yeji, are you really okay? A lot of people are talking about you right now. Chansu asked curiously, what's wrong? They read off the recent news headlines one after another. Hunter Cha Yeji refuses to join the Icarus Guild, even though Kong Minyuk desperately wants her. Hunter Cha Yeji, what kind of personality does she have? Hyuksu couldn't help but sigh. Icarus is one of the top guilds in Korea. Chansu immediately let out a fake laugh. But isn't our city hall the biggest in South Korea? The other man rubbed his chin and muttered, honestly, if I were her, I'd reconsider and just join the Icarus Guild. He casually continued, of course, whatever you decide, we'll support you because we care about you. Then, Hyuksu gave his honest opinion. Still, it's a real waste of talent to reject the Icarus Guild. This is a rare opportunity for a genius like you. Hearing this, Chansu started getting annoyed. Why do you keep? Yeji just smiled and turned to ask Dojin. Manager, what do you think about my decision? He replied with a confident smile. Naturally, you won't regret it. Getting that confirmation, Yeji's eyes crinkled into a bright smile. An answer like that is more than enough. Chansu was very pleased with this reaction, happily making a heart shape with his hands. Right at that moment, Dojin suddenly announced, Hunter Cha Yeji and I are going to the workshop for a bit. A brief introduction. The workshop, the largest hunter equipment store in South Korea, located inside the Hunter Bureau. This is where hunters buy and sell gear, weapons, and various other auxiliary items. As soon as Hyuksu heard the name, he waved his hands with a forced smile. Dojin, I know equipment is important, but you don't have enough money to buy even a single item. I think it'd be better if you just saved up for a few more years before buying anything. Dojin casually dropped the line. Don't worry, I'm not planning to buy anything. I'm just going to pick something up. Cutting to the workshop, Dojin took a look around. It's a lot bigger than I thought. Yeji nodded in agreement. Yeah, because the workshop sells a lot of things. Their eyes lingered on the combat suits lining the aisles. The whole place exuded a flashy, luxurious vibe. A staff member walked over to warmly welcome them. Welcome. Dojin got straight to the point. I'm Lee Dojin from the Seoul Rift Management Department. Hunter Kong Minyuk should have mentioned me. The staff member confirmed with a bright smile. Yes, sir. She bowed deeply. Please take your time looking around, and call me if you need anything. Yeji gave a slight nod. Thank you. A golden combat suit caught their eyes. Yeji sighed in disappointment. It seems like there aren't any suits that fit me. Just as she said that, she suddenly noticed something. Yeji's eyes immediately lit up. She cheered happily. Manager! Manager! Look at this. A silver-winged suit. Yeji ran over excitedly, constantly marveling at it. I think this one would suit me perfectly. I heard people say it's made from the wings of a queen ant. Dojin only asked one question. You want this? Yeji teared up with regret. No, it's too expensive. Dojin immediately moved on. Then let's look at something else. Before long, the evening glow appeared outside. Dojin, looking exhausted, complained inwardly. Good Lord, why did we have to wander around here for 4 whole hours? His footsteps briefly paused as his gaze fell upon a bin of items. Attached to it was a clear sign, one-day super clearance sale. 50% off. Dojin asked directly, what's this? The store manager quickly explained, they're rank E weapons, but they're still in great condition. He enthusiastically pitched them. Take a few. They're all super cheap. Only 1,000,000 won each. Dojin was startled when he heard the price. What? 1,000,000 won each? Yeji could only force a smile. Hunter weapons are still expensive, even if they're rank E. The manager still tried to persuade him. This whole pile is rank E, which is why it's so cheap. Dojin decisively turned his back and walked away. Forget it then. After taking just a few steps, he suddenly froze. He sensed something special in that clearance bin. Dojin hurriedly turned back and started rummaging through it. Seeing his reaction, Yeji called out in confusion. Manager? Dojin finally found the item, his eyes widening in shock. He asked himself in astonishment, why is this here? Dojin picked up the old sword, suddenly falling into deep thought. Why is an item that should be in the Murim world sitting right here? The sword I used to dominate Murim. His eyes landed on the sword's price tag, 50,000 won. The manager hurriedly ran over with a fake laugh. Oh no, how did this get mixed in here? Sorry, I accidentally tossed it in. Dojin asked directly. Boss, is this really 50,000 won? The manager broke into a cold sweat and confirmed. Ah, yes. I just accidentally put it in there. Yeji asked Dojin, a bit puzzled. Manager, are you going to buy it? He frankly admitted, I'm buying it. The manager was surprised. You really want to buy it, sir? It's just a piece of scrap metal with only the hilt left. Dojin replied in a cold tone. That's fine. Night had fallen. Cutting to MT Yumiansen. Dojin silently inspected the object in his hand. He muttered softly in a gloomy tone. To think my precious sword is only worth 50,000 won. Dojin gripped the hilt tightly. A pitch-black streak of energy immediately flared up, radiating a terrifyingly powerful aura. In a split second, all of that oppressive energy was suddenly retracted. Dojin put the sword away, suddenly remembering something. Oh crap, I forgot. Junie said she was going to make dinner. He hurriedly pulled out his phone. I need to find the nearest subway station. In a flash, Dojin's figure vanished. Arriving back home, he spoke up softly. Sorry, Dad's a little late. A news anchor's voice echoed through the room. Regular broadcasting will be temporarily suspended for breaking news. At approximately 7:20 p.m. today, a massive rift was detected around the MT Yumiansen area, and it has since vanished. Dojin took off his coat and looked around. Where did she go, leaving the TV on? He noticed the door in the back was slightly ajar. Dojin decided to go in and check. Is she in here? Junie was anxiously looking at a tuition notice. I didn't even think about the tuition fees when I transferred. Equipment rental fees, teacher commission fees, facility maintenance fees. The more she listed, the more anxious she became. Why is it so damn expensive? Is it because it's the National Hunter Academy? The total cost is over 50 million won. Junie hesitated a bit, wondering to herself, should I ask Dad? This wasn't part of the contract terms. Thinking about this, she suddenly felt a headache coming on. It's already more than enough that he's letting me stay here. If I ask him to pay my tuition on top of that, I'll just be a burden to him. Right at that moment, Dojin happened to walk in. What are you doing? Junie jumped in surprise. Dad, when did you get in? She hurriedly hid the notice. Nothing. I was just organizing my desk. Dojin pretended not to notice and simply asked, ready for dinner? Let's eat. Junie replied hesitantly. I don't really want to eat right now. You go ahead and eat first, Dad. Dojin didn't force her. Okay. Seeing that he still hadn't left, Junie pretended to be busy. Time to clean the desk. Let's clean the desk. Dojin narrowed his eyes slightly. He looked thoughtful. Not long after, his voice called out into the room. Junie, where's the sesame oil? She immediately called back. In the cabinet under the induction stove. Saying that, Junie felt a bit puzzled. What do you need sesame oil for, Dad? Dojin replied. Just to add some flavor to the food. Junie had no choice but to step out of the room, sighing helplessly. Whatever you say. As soon as she came out, she asked, Can you fry an egg too, Dad? Dojin replied firmly, Just go watch TV. Junie obediently listened. Okay. A little while later, Dojin quietly stepped into Junie's room. He picked up the piece of paper on the desk and read it. As soon as he saw what it was, he was startled and shocked. Late at night, Dojin was lying in bed, a pile of worries keeping him wide awake. If the admission fee alone is 50 million, how much is the tuition for 3 years going to be? Thinking of this, Dojin immediately shot up from the bed. He looked at the meager balance in his bank account and sighed. Dojin started calculating carefully. I think I should go to a rank A rift to farm some rank A mana stones, then sell them to make some quick cash. But I need to ask Yeji about the market prices first. He decided to act on it right away. Dojin pressed the call button on his phone, but then he immediately regretted it. Is it too late to call?